The security scanner's red light bathed my face as I stood before the palace gates, the wrapped package trembling in my hands. 3 Zynthian guards surrounded me, their 6 eyes fixed on the small box that had triggered every alarm in the compound. Their translator chips crackled to life simultaneously. Identification, now. I have an appointment with Queen Shvara. The Central Guard's mandibles clicked. No human has private audience with the Queen, especially not today. Check your records. Ambassador Torin arranged it 3 weeks ago. The guard's claws tapped against his wrist console. His eyes widened, all 6 of them. You're the antiques dealer. Historian, I corrected. And yes, I have something that belongs to her. No exceptions. The scanning radiation will damage what's inside. It's extremely old and fragile. 2 more guards materialized from the shadows, weapons charging with an electric hum that made my teeth ache. The lead guard stepped closer, his breath smelling of sulfur and spices I couldn't name. We've had 3 assassination attempts this month. The Queen's birthday makes her vulnerable.
Open it here or turn around.
If I opened it here, in the dust and heat, with untrained hands nearby, everything I'd worked for would shatter. But if I refused, I'd never get inside these walls. I'd never complete the promise I'd made to a dying man in a hospital bed 6 months ago. I need gloves, I said, and a clean surface. What I'm carrying is worth more than this entire building. Bold words from someone surrounded by armed soldiers. Not bold, truthful. I met his gaze without blinking. Your queen lost her mate 2 years ago in the border wars. King Thavron. I have something of his. The laughter died. Every guard went rigid. Impossible, the lead guard whispered. The king's possessions were all destroyed in the attack. Nothing survived. Almost nothing. I kept my voice steady, despite the sweat running down my spine. 1 item made it off the command ship before it was destroyed. It's been lost in human space ever since. I found it. Show me. Those were my conditions. You don't make conditions here, human. Then I'll take this back to Earth and sell it to the highest bidder. There are collectors who'd pay millions for authentic Zynthian royal artifacts. I turned toward the gate. My mistake. I thought she'd want it. Stop. I froze. The guard touched his communication device, speaking in rapid Zynthian too quick for my translator to catch. Silence stretched like a wire pulled taut. Then his device chirped. The Queen will see you. But if this is deception, if you've brought a weapon or a threat into her home, your death will take days. He leaned closer. And we're very creative with time. They escorted me through corridors of polished obsidian and flowing water, past tapestries showing battles I'd only read about in restricted archives. Other guards watched from alcoves and doorways, their weapons tracking my every step. No one spoke. The only sounds were footsteps and the distant hum of the palace's energy core. We stopped before doors 3 times my height, carved with intricate scenes of 2 figures intertwined beneath alien stars. The royal seal glowed above them. All weapons, the guard said, even the small ones you think we don't know about. Multi-tool. Pen. Datapad. They scanned each item, then me, then the package again. The scanner beeped insistently at the box. Last chance, the guard said. Tell me what's inside. A memory, I replied. And a promise kept. Queen Shvara sat alone in a chamber that could have held 1,000 people. She wore simple robes of deep blue, no crown, no jewels. Her scales had dulled since the last official photographs, and her eyes held a weariness that no amount of power could erase. She looked at me with the expression of someone who'd learned to expect disappointment. You're very young to be a historian, Marcus Webb, and you claim to have something of my mate's. She rose from her seat, and you claim to have something of my mate's. She rose from her seat, moving with the careful grace of someone carrying invisible weight. Many have made such claims. All were lies meant to exploit grief. I know. I've read the reports. 17 frauds in 2 years. People are cruel. Because I'm not asking for anything in return, and because I promised someone I'd bring this home. Her hand hovered over the wrapping. Who? A salvage worker named Chen. He died of radiation poisoning 3 months after pulling debris from the battle site. He didn't know what he'd found until the end. Made me swear I'd return it. I met her eyes. He said some things are more valuable than money. The Queen's claws traced the edges of the box without opening it. The battle site was classified. Scavengers were forbidden. He was desperate. His daughter needed medical treatment he couldn't afford. He thought he'd find metals to sell. I paused. Instead, he found something that haunted him until his last breath. Show me. I pulled on the conservation gloves I'd brought, the special ones designed for handling artifacts that had survived catastrophe. My hands moved carefully, peeling back layers of protective wrapping, each one preserving against different types of damage. The Queen watched without breathing. The final layer fell away. In the center of the box lay a small crystalline sphere, no larger than a child's fist, shot through with veins of gold and silver that seemed to pulse with internal light. Xinthian memory stones were legendary, grown over lifetimes, encoding moments their owners chose to preserve. This one glowed with a soft amber warmth. The Queen's legs buckled. Guards rushed forward, but she waved them back with a sharp gesture. "That's impossible," she whispered. "He wore this. Always. It never left him. The blast threw it clear," I said quietly. Chan found it fused to a piece of hull plating. He didn't understand what it was until the radiation started killing him and he showed it to his xenoarchaeologist friend. By then, it was too late for him. She reached toward it, then pulled back. "If I touch it, if it's real, you'll see what he wanted you to remember." The chamber filled with light. The Queen gasped, her eyes glazing over as the stored memories flooded through her neural pathways. I watched her face transform. Grief, joy, pain, love, all cascading across her features in waves. She saw things only she could understand, moments private and precious. Her free hand clutched at her chest, claws digging into fabric. A sound escaped her throat, something between a sob and a laugh. The guards shifted uneasily, uncertain whether to intervene. I stood perfectly still, feeling like an intruder in this moment of raw intimacy with the past. The light faded gradually, returning to the stone's gentle pulse. The Queen sagged, still gripping the crystal like a lifeline. When she looked at me again, her eyes shimmered with tears that refracted the amber glow. "He recorded our last morning together," she said, her voice breaking. "Before he left for the fleet, I'd forgotten the words he said. I'd forgotten the way he looked at me, but he preserved it for this moment. I'm sorry for your loss, Your Majesty." She shook her head slowly. "Don't be sorry for bringing him back to me, even briefly. You could have sold this for enough money to live like royalty for the rest of your life. Why didn't you?" And because I hesitated, then continued. Because I lost someone too. I know what it means to have something real to hold on to. Some things shouldn't have a price. The Queen set the stone down gently, reverently, in a cushioned depression clearly designed to hold such treasures. She approached me, and the guards tensed again, but she simply placed her hand on my shoulder. A gesture I'd learned meant deep respect in Xinthian culture. "You've given me something beyond value," she said. "A gift I can never repay. You don't need to repay it. It was always yours." She studied me for a long moment, and I saw calculations running behind her eyes. The mind of a ruler who survived in a dangerous universe by understanding debts and obligations, alliances and advantages. Nevertheless, a debt exists, and I always honor my debts. She turned to her guards. "Clear the room." They hesitated for only a second before bowing and retreating through the massive doors. The Queen waited until the locks engaged, sealing us in privacy. "What I'm about to tell you must remain between us," she said. "The information alone could start a war or save billions of lives, depending on how it's used. Your Majesty, I'm just a historian. That makes you rare in this galaxy." She walked to a window overlooking the capital city, its spires catching the light of 3 setting suns. 3 months from now, the Collective Council will vote on whether to grant humans full membership or classify your species as a probationary client state. The difference will determine your entire future among the stars. I'd heard rumors of the vote, but nothing concrete. Earth's government had been desperate for information. "The vote is expected to fail," she continued. "Too many species still see humans as dangerous primitives. Too aggressive, too unpredictable, too young to be trusted with real power. They'll cite your wars, your environmental damage, your short lifespans as evidence you're not ready. Are they wrong?" She smiled, a strange expression on Xinthian features. "That's what makes you dangerous. You question yourselves. But that same quality makes you capable of remarkable growth." She turned to face me fully. "I hold significant influence in the Council, enough to sway the vote if I choose to use it. After today, I'm inclined to see humans in a new light." The implications crashed over me like a wave. "You'd support our membership?" "I would, but I need something in return, and I need you to bring it to me." My stomach tightened. "What?" Information that's currently locked in a human military archive? Records from the first contact between your species and the Vrel Empire before the Alliance formed. Specifically, records of what your ships found in the Kepler 442 system. The Kepler incident was classified beyond anything I had clearance for. I don't have access to military archives at that level. I barely have access to civilian databases. But you have something more valuable. You have my favor now. Use it. Tell your government what I've offered and what I need. They'll find a way to get you those files. Her eyes hardened. But, Marcus, understand this. If those records contain what I suspect, they'll reveal that the Vrel have been lying to the entire galaxy for 2 decades. And if that truth comes out without proper preparation, it won't just be your membership at stake. It could shatter the alliance that keeps 15 species from destroying each other. Why tell me this? Why not go through official channels? Because official channels leak. Because there are those in the Council who profit from human subjugation and Vrel deception. Because I need someone who proved they value truth over profit and duty over comfort. And because the information in that memory stone changes everything for me. Thavron recorded a message specifically for this moment. He knew he might not survive the war, and he knew I'd face impossible choices afterward. His final words to me were to trust carefully, but when I found someone worthy, to trust completely. He couldn't have met me. He died before we met. Nobody knew I'd know when I found the right person. And you delivered more than a stone today, Marcus. You delivered proof that at least one human understands honor. She walked back to the table where the memory stone glowed. I'm choosing to believe you represent more than just yourself. Don't prove me wrong. The weight of what she was asking settled on my shoulders. If I do this, if I get you these records, and they show what you fear, what happens then? Then I'll have a choice to make. Expose the truth and watch the galaxy burn, or bury it and let the lies continue. Her voice dropped. But either way, I'll use my influence to support human membership, not because you gave me a gift, but because a species capable of producing someone like you deserves a chance to prove themselves among the stars.
How long do I have? The vote is in 3 months. I need those files in 2.
Can you do it? I thought about Chen dying in that hospital bed, making me promise to do the right thing no matter the cost. I thought about Earth's future hanging in the balance. I thought about the secrets buried in classified archives and the lies that kept the peace. I'll try. Succeed! She touched her communication device. My guards will escort you out. They'll provide you with a diplomatic credential that will grant you safe passage through Zynthian space. Use it wisely. The doors opened, and guards filed back in, their expressions carefully neutral despite surely wondering what had transpired in their absence. As I turned to leave, the Queen spoke once more. Marcus, the truth can be more dangerous than any weapon. Be certain you're prepared for what you might find. I nodded and followed the guards out. The memory of the stone's amber glow still burned behind my eyes. The corridors seemed longer on the way out, or maybe it was just the weight of secrets making each step heavier. Outside, the triple suns had set, leaving the sky stained purple and red. I stood at the palace gates, looking up at stars that suddenly seemed both closer and more threatening than ever before. My communicator buzzed. Ambassador Torrens' message was brief. Report immediately. The Queen's office contacted us. What the hell happened in there? I didn't answer yet. Instead, I pulled out the data stick I'd prepared before coming here. The one containing everything I'd learned about Chen, about the Memory Stone's recovery, about the chain of events that brought me to this moment. I'd planned to submit it as a formal report, closing the case cleanly. Now it was the opening chapter of something much larger. I encrypted the data stick with a code only 3 people on Earth knew, marked it Priority 1, and sealed it in a diplomatic pouch programmed to self-destruct if tampered with. Whatever came next, there needed to be a record of how this started, of why a simple act of returning a lost item had transformed into a pivot point for humanity's future. The embassy transport arrived, its driver's face showing barely concealed curiosity. Everyone would be curious now. Word would spread that a low-level historian had somehow secured a private audience with the grieving queen on her birthday and emerged with diplomatic credentials. The questions would start soon, the scrutiny, the pressure. I climbed into the transport and watched the palace recede into the distance, its lights beginning to glow against the darkening sky. Somewhere in those walls, the queen held a piece of her past returned to her, and somewhere in human space, there were secrets that could change everything. Chen's voice echoed in my memory. Some things are more valuable than money. He'd been right, but he hadn't known how right. The memory stone wasn't just valuable for what it meant to one grieving widow. It was the key that unlocked a door to truths that powerful people wanted kept hidden, and I'd just promised to walk through that door, consequences be damned. The transport lifted off, carrying me away from the palace and toward whatever awaited in the shadows of classified archives and political machinations. Behind me, the Queen celebrated her birthday alone with her memories. Ahead, 15 species orbited each other in careful balance, unaware that the truth was coming for them. I activated my secure communicator and began composing a message to my contact in Earth's intelligence services, a woman who owed me a favor and had access to systems I could barely imagine. "Kate," I typed, "I need to call in that favor, and I need you to trust me even when what I'm asking sounds insane." Her response came within seconds. "How insane are we talking?" I looked at the diplomatic credential the guards had given me, emblazoned with the Queen's personal seal, a mark of trust that could open doors or paint a target on my back. "The kind that changes everything," I sent back. "The kind that determines whether humanity gets a seat at the table or stays on our knees. I need access to the Kepler 442 files." 3 minutes passed. Then, "Meet me at the usual place. Midnight. Come alone and ready to explain why I shouldn't report you for treason." I leaned back in the seat, exhaustion finally catching up with me. The easy part was over. I delivered the stone, kept my promise to Chen, and given the Queen a piece of her husband back. Now came the hard part, uncovering truths that people had killed to keep hidden, navigating political waters that had drowned better operatives than me, and somehow doing it all in time to save Earth's future. The transport banked over the city, and I caught a glimpse of Earth on the horizon, a blue-green marble hanging in alien skies, home to billions who had no idea their fate was being decided in shadows and secrets. I thought about what the Queen had said. The truth can be more dangerous than any weapon. That sometimes, I thought as the transport carried me toward my midnight meeting and whatever came after, the truth was the only weapon worth wielding. The stars glittered overhead, indifferent and eternal, as they'd been long before humanity reached for them and would be long after. But for this moment, for these crucial months, they were watching. And what happened next would determine whether humans would walk among them as equals or remain forever in the shadows, probationary and powerless. I had made a promise to a dying man and kept it. Now I had to make good on a promise to a queen. And maybe, if I was very careful and very lucky, I'd help keep an unspoken promise to every human who'd ever looked up at the night sky and dreamed of belonging there. The transport descended toward the embassy district, and I began planning my next moves. Time was short, the stakes were impossibly high, and I was just one person with more courage than sense. But then again, that's how most impossible things got done, one promise at a time.